recognize the ranking member for his questioning.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you both. Dr. Schwendenson, I want to begin by commending you and thanking you for your assistance to the Ukrainians. I have to remind, unfortunately, some of my colleagues from time to time that Vladimir Putin is not our friend, that the cause of the Ukrainians is the cause of freedom and democracy, and that Russia continues to pose a threat not just to Ukraine, but to American interests all over the world. And so I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing over there, because that is the front line of freedom today.
Thank you.
I was interested in your written testimony when you expressed some skepticism in the effectiveness of signal jamming technology to mitigate risks from UAS on the battlefield. I was wondering if you could expand on that. Why are you sort of skeptical about the effectiveness or the promise of signal jamming and other counter UAS technology on the battlefield and also writ large?
Sure. I claim no engineering expertise in drone warfare, but all I can do is say what I've seen, which is that in the world's most intense EW battle space, which is the Ukrainian-Russian front at the moment, it is an electronic warfare chaos, right? And so what people used to think about the ability to jam drones, which is what some of the speakers we had here are talking about, which is 2 years old, which at this point is effectively a century-old obsolete information. Jamming doesn't work the way we think it does. And there are so many new developing technologies on countering the counters, right? They've already gone multiple layers ahead of us. At this point, they're doing AI pixel lock technology that doesn't have any RF frequency whatsoever. They're doing ambush technology where they're not needing to have any kind of communication between operator and drone. So, again, I don't know the specifics beyond what I've just seen, the tip of the iceberg, which is that, the jamming solution is not a one-size-fits-all, that's the silver bullet. It might be a piece of a suite, but that's only a piece.
Yeah, and I recognize that you've thought about this in sort of the DoD space more perhaps than Homeland, domestic law enforcement, et cetera. But I imagine the lessons are transferable. What do we need to do specifically in order to go from being laggards to leaders on this? You referenced procurement issues and kind of speeding that up. You referenced, bringing a spirit of I guess, inventiveness and innovation. But are there other specific things? I mean, is there training that we should be looking at deploying across the federal government? Is there some kind of specific workaround to procurement rules that you would recommend? Like, what are the nuts and bolts of what we should be doing in order to take back the advantage?
Yeah, I do think Yankee ingenuity is one of our comparative strengths, and we need to take advantage of it. And one of the ways to do that, this is not an especially sexy solution, so I say that with apologies in advance. But I think one example of an idea is to, at the DoD level, get drones down to the absolute operational level of units, so they can begin to tinker. There is as Elon Musk says, move fast and break things. You need to learn on the fly. You need to learn in the trenches how these things are operated. It isn't enough to do this from a centrally managed, top-down approach in which we're going to go through this entire typical cycle and then deliver the tool to the warfighter wrapped with a ribbon. It doesn't work that way anymore. We have to give it to them and let them develop it on the fly.
Empower the people on the front lines to innovate. That makes sense. Mr. Baumgartner, I apologize, I only have a minute left, but I wanted to explore this importance of the cooperation between private industry and particularly state and local law enforcement. What are the best practices there that you've noticed, and are there things that we can do to support those kinds of collaborations?
Well, we work very hard to establish and maintain those relationships in all the states and localities that we serve. I think it does become about manpower and hours spent in doing that collaboration, and so there are certainly challenges to maintaining that. But I think fusion centers are a great opportunity to engage in a wide variety of state and local efforts, at one location. I think there are other similar opportunities, like in our sector, we have the Electricity Information Sharing and Analysis Center that also convenes those state and local partners in a regional fashion, and we're able to effectively have those conversations and maintain those relationships in that forum as well.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Ranking Member, and I recognize my